Hi everyone and welcome back to your weekly installment of the Top 10. These are the hottest selling cards in Magic the Gathering and we have so much to discuss, guys. The numbers this week are starting to add up to something insane and a lot of it is going to be laid at the feet and the blame of Modern Horizons 3. So what am I talking about? Don't worry, we're about to get started. Hi guys, welcome back. MTG Moxman here. I hope you're having a fantastic Saturday wherever you are in the world of Magic the Gathering, because I only put these videos out on Saturday, so I can always say it's Saturday. Whenever you watch it is when you choose to watch it. Now, a reminder, if you enjoyed today's content, like and subscribe to the channel. If you want to help me out more, use my TCG Player affiliate link. It's found in the description of this video. Let's jump right to number 10. Now, this week's number 10 is Shuko. I mean, this thing supposedly hasn't had a reprint since it was introduced. We're talking 20 something years ago. Now, this is a one casting cost artifact equipment. Now, it gives a +1/+0, but none of that matters. That is not why people would like a card like this. I haven't seen this card in years, but it really occurred to me that it's the Equip 0. The fact that this is an Equip 0 and it targets a creature, well, this just allows you to keep targeting a creature over and over and over and over, which can cause all kinds of effects when you're targeting said creature. So I can understand why people are getting crazy into the combos, and this card is something you've just got to be paying attention to. And yeah, the sales are racking up across the board, which is why it's made it to the top 10. So take a look at the card. If you need a copy, I mean, will it get a reprint? That's a good question. It's kind of a weird card. Now let's go ahead and take a look at number 9. Sadistic Glee is still here. This was last week's number 1. And now it comes in at number 9, so it's still hanging in there with 1,403 sales, or $4,784.23, brought to you by MTG Moxman. Didn't I say that so slick? I know, it's early in the morning. It's all good, guys. We got to roll through this and talk about these amazing Magic cards. Now, Sadistic Glee, I mean, other than the awesome name and the original artwork looks totally boss. When we look at this card, as an enchant creature, it says, whenever any creature is put into any graveyard from play, put a +1/+1 counter on enchanted creature. And as if that's not like a new level of horror that you already have to deal with, the idea of bringing back enchantments to graveyards back to your hand is so easy to do now that even if somebody gets rid of this, they better make sure they find a way to exile it, because chances are you've built a deck that's going to let this thing come back again. Now, our next card comes to us from Aether Revolt. We saw it here a few weeks ago, and I did mention it with the whole outbreak of Modern Horizons 3 that people are really paying attention to cards that have energy. Now, the green belt definitely brings attention. 1,908 sales, fine. It's gone up, it's up to $3.50. Now, as a single casting cost creature, you got to pay the 2 energy to keep this thing alive, okay? Or it's just not going to work for you. But if you go ahead, and when it enters the battlefield, if you can't pay the 2, then you return it to your hand, but you get 1 energy. Well, that's okay, 1 green for 1 energy. And you could recast it dozens of times to really build up a massive energy pool with no intention of keeping this guy on the battlefield. Finding a way to just re-energize it over and over and over again to build up massive pools of energy to get some huge game effects, which Wizards of the Coast has made easier because of Modern Horizons 3. Yeah, they knew what they were doing, guys. Don't pretend they didn't. Now let's get on to our next card, because this one's coming to us from Lord of the Rings, and it's not what you're going to expect. That's right, guys. We're looking at Command Tower. This is a 35-cent card. Now, for a while this thing was a little bit more expensive, but 2,000 sales is only $700. So what's going on? Lord of the Rings cards are still really sought after. A lot of players love to collect them and get them, but the value has moved on. Players aren't looking at the way they were, and most people who really wanted the collections already got them. That's leaving a lot of open room as the cards fall in price to allow us to be our own little hobbits and go around collecting things and going on adventures saying, can I find this card? Where's my Orcish Bowmaster? I need the 1 ring! Whatever it is, you now have the chance to go and get it, because a lot of these cards are dirt cheap. So enjoy going on the hunt. Pay as little as you can and get as many of these awesome cards as possible. And that's what somebody did, because I know of a local store that had a few hundred copies and they sold them all in one day for like 38 cents Canadian each copy. Totally insane. Now, our next card is slamming at us, okay? This one here shouldn't be here. As far as the Moxman's concerned, this card should not be here. 2,003 sales. That's $162,000 of Sheoldred the Apocalypse from Dominaria United. I'm not sure if this is a Modern Horizons 3 thing. I'm hoping somebody can shed and illuminate some of what's going on with this card, because the sales are across the board. It's on multiple websites, multiple sales volumes, as well as a whole bunch of local stores selling anywhere from 8 to 12 copies at a time. That's $1,200 Canadian of Sheoldred leaving a single store in a single day. So what's going on with this card, of course, is it's legendary. Okay, this thing's too black, too generic. It's a 4/5 with Death Touch. You take damage when you draw, you gain life when you draw. It's insane to think what happens to your opponent, and not to mention using Mirror Box and making multiple copies of that card can be fun. Now let's jump to number 5, because I just keep gabbing today. This is Aftermath Analyst. 2,350 sales. This card's been here as well. $5,000, not a massive amount of money, but there is a massive amount of sales. The sales are up this week. Overall sales volumes took me a lot longer to count it all out, because there were so many cards I had to kind of counterbalance and go back again and look to make sure that another card beat this card by 50 and this card beat this one by 10. But what does this card do? What does the Aftermath guy here do? Well, the Aftermath Analyst enters the battlefield. You mill 3 cards. You pay 1 green and 3 other, you sacrifice the Analyst, and you return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. But here's the thing, if you're building an elf deck, and you can mill a few other times and get some crazy stuff going, and you can get a massive amount of mana jumped onto the battlefield and thin your deck out and find a way to recursion the other cards, you can have a very disgusting thing going on, okay? Now our next card. All right, the Bristly Bill, that's right. This thing comes in with 2,400 sales, or $41,000. This guy's really holding a good value point. Now, I have faced off against this guy countless times on Friday Night Magic at my local stores, as well as some Saturday matches for fun, and of course on Arena. I'm seeing this guy everywhere. So Bill is a pretty good card, I'll be honest. He does do a lot. He's a plant druid. He has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under control, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Can we say, I don't know, maybe Thawing Glaciers? I know. That's right. Reserve list video tomorrow. Now, this thing here also has 2 green and 3, double the number of counters, okay, on each creature you control. Double the number of +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. This can be crazy powerful if you can get landfall really going off and getting multiple lands out multiple times. Of course, with the Analyst, it makes perfect sense. Now, Pick Your Poison refuses to leave the list. It's had another pickup of sales, another surge of volume. It's coming in around $2.20 on average, but 3,345 copies, $7,000. The volume of sales is slowly climbing. Players are utilizing this card a lot, and that's just... it makes sense. Like, there's no other way of saying it. Like, oh, I don't know why it's being bought. Yes, I do. I know why this card's being bought. I mentioned it when the pre-release, when all the, spoiler season started. As soon as I saw the card, I said, look what it does. Look what this thing can do for you. It can make things great. Now I'm going to sip some coffee. Can't help it. Need the coffee to stay awake. That's right. There's clanging sounds in the background. We got to live with it. We got to live with the goodness of magic. Oh, it's so good. Okay, here we go. Lava Spur Boots, not on the list last week. Lava Spur was nowhere to be seen. But this week Lava Spur's like, hey, I'm going to jump up and put on my whatever they call kickers. I'm going to put these things on. 4,590 sales, $7,000, okay? $1.53. This thing is a single casting cost, single equip. Does it kind of remind you of those Shuko things? Really close, isn't it? Except for this thing also gives you haste and ward, which is just a disgustingly powerful card, okay? I do use this in arena matches. I do not use it in my standard deck, okay? I can't spare the space. It doesn't give me enough oomph to make it last in my deck, but at the same time, I can still appreciate this card for what it is, right? These boots were made for far more than walking, and that's just what they'll do. Because one of these days, these boots, yeah, they're probably going to walk all over you, but it's just not me right now. I know, I couldn't help it, guys. This is a good day, man. A lot of good sales, a lot of good action going on. But now let's get to the number 1 card. This one I have seen enough times I'm annoyed by this card. Number 1 was 7,212 sales. It's $12,000 in sales volume. This isn't anywhere near a Sheoldred level thing, but it's what this card does that irritates the Moxman. For 1 green and 1 red plus X, This thing does things that just make me regret not keeping copies of cards sometimes. I think I gave these away. I think I had a couple of copies. Worldsoul Rage does X damage to any target. Put up to X land cards, from your hand and or graveyard onto the battlefield tapped. So we're going to do a whole bunch of damage, and we're going to put all kinds of lands in play. So even if we don't die to the damage, we get a lot of lands to do some other crazy stuff. This card's amazing, okay? But guess what? We're not done. Let's stick around. Let's get to the wrap-up. Let's talk about what's going on in this market space of Magic the Gathering this week. Well, we made it through another week of Magic the Gathering, and the markets really are telling us that the sales are staying strong this week with a lot of interest in Modern Horizons 3. A lot of these connecting synergy cards are seeing a lot of sales, and these sales are leading to a lot of happy LGS, a lot of happy individual sellers, and a lot of market movement in cards we haven't seen, like Sheoldred. I'm not sure. Okay, I am sure. We're not going to see that next week. It's too expensive of a card. This is a one-off. When you see a card like that have that kind of movement, I'm not sure if it's because it'll rotate out soon and players realize it really isn't going to drop in price that much because so many commander decks do use it, or people just realize it's unlikely to get a regular reprint ever again. It's going to show up in specialty box sets like Modern Masters 29, Futurama Section 6 Special Edition, Secret Lair, Mama's Gonna Getcha, all that crazy stuff. That's where it's going to end up. Which means if you can get a copy for $100 and you just leave it, you'll never have to worry about it. And yeah, you spend some money, but you'll get years of enjoyment out of the card because they will just siphon little bits of IP value and make it last as long as they can. That's what Wizards likes to do. But other than that, a lot of the sales are just trending upwards because of Modern Horizons 3. Some of the landfall abilities, the energy cards. There were a lot of other energy cards like Aetherworks, Marvel, and stuff that came close to making the list, but it just, by the skin of your teeth, it just couldn't cut it, guys. So that's the way it's going to be. Now, going forward, though, I've already seen people start turning toward Bloomborough, wondering if it's going to pan out. Because Modern Horizons 3, I mean, we're here at the end of the video. If you make it this far, respects to you. It didn't have what I wanted. I'll be honest. There are a couple of cards I think are really fun. But this Modern Horizons 3 set did not deliver what I was hoping for. I didn't get another card in the land cycle that I really wanted to see. We have two of them, right? We got Urborg and we got Yavimaya Cradle of Growth. So I didn't get the card I was kind of looking forward to seeing. I was hoping they would expand on tribal themes that I enjoy more, and I didn't get those. So there was some cool stuff, just not enough for me to ever justify buying a box. It was close for a while, and I still think the fetch lands and stuff are going to hold up way better than people expect. Like, you're going to be surprised. But at the same time, that's not enough to justify me buying it because I have most of my fetch lands, except for a few I want for some scattered commander decks. So I'm just going to wait and see how those pan out later on. So hold your powder dry, pay attention to cards you're really looking for, and be patient. Because patience in this market is going to pay off. We know what the highs are at, and it won't get much worse than that just because of the market's ceiling. The lows, if we get lucky, then we save money, but we know it can't get much worse than where we're at now, and that's what was the good news scenario, is that we know where it's at. We know it could go lower, though, so a little bit of patience on something we've probably been waiting for a year anyway means a few extra weeks or months isn't going to hurt us anyway. Thanks again for hanging out with me on the channel. I look forward to seeing you guys, of course, for the Reserve List Top 10 and the live stream, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. Have a great one, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Hey guys, mad respect and thanks again everyone for supporting the channel. For all the patrons I have out there, guys, this is amazing to know we have this kind of support on the channel to allow for daily uploaded content, to make sure we get to stay update on everything going on out there. So thanks again, guys. Like, I really just, it's always important for me to leave these personal messages because of you, this stuff happens. So thanks again, guys. I'll see you later. Well. Welcome back, Mr. Bond. Did you think you would have an easy time? I think not. If you think you will escape from me this time, I think not. I will now sip my coffee. I know, that's a horrible accent. I don't even know what accent that's supposed to be, but you know what? Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. You've made it to the zone. The place where there's a laundry machine going off in the next room. I got weird lighting going on. There's some really big spiders down here that kind of migrated over the weekend. Last week, I guess, that need to be dealt with because Mrs. Mox told me to. And I like where I see the market right now. I like the action I'm seeing. I see reserve list cards moving. I see new product moving. I see sales on cards going up. But I wanna reiterate something, in case you guys weren't aware. Certain channels, certain people out there are talking that maybe there's a lot more sales than apparently there are, because I cannot track them, I cannot find them. And if I can't find them, it's kind of like science. It's based on fact. I need to find it. I need to be able to see it and track it, and I can't. So I just don't think some of the sales on certain sealed product is nearly what somebody thinks it is. I could be wrong, of course. You got to take everything with a grain of salt, but just a little bit of information to like weed into your brain a bit, because no. It's just things are not selling that great. Not for sealed product anyway. Certain cards, yes. Certain singles, yes. Wait, I'm going to come back. Hold on. Yes. Sealed product, for most things, mediocre at best. Okay, a few products get hot, like Fallout and stuff. But by the way, the sales on those all dwindle down too, at least locally and stuff here in Canada. And the stuff I see on TCG Player, yeah, it's okay. But considering the size of the United States, not that great. And overseas, yeah, I hear okay things. So yeah, just keep it in mind, guys. Don't believe the hype. Don't jump into FOMO. Buy the cards you need. Buy the stuff that you really want. And if you think a sealed box is going to be good 20 years from now for you to enjoy and love, there's nothing wrong with buying it. Just realize it can go to zero because Wizards reprints everything. Now I'm leaving.